All right.
I would.
Hey. All right. Apparently, we are recording. So for the sake of posterity, this is October 26th at 7 o'clock. This is Camden County College, English 101, DOL5, not DULL, but DOL5. And we have Andrew and Josh and Paul.
Yep.
A big turnout. But that's good for you guys because then you look good by comparison. So a couple things I want to do tonight, and then I want to find out if there's anything you want to do. So let's start with you. Is there something in particular that you want to cover or deal with tonight? Paul, you better say no because we had our conversation.
Yeah, I'm pretty on track here, so I don't have many questions.
Let's not go off the deep end, All right, Andrew, anything in particular on your mind?
I think I was right on that shortest answer.
Two letters, Andrew.
It was two letters. You got short.
EST.
ST. That's two letters.
No. Short S is SHORTEST. Don't mess with me, Andrew. I got you on this one.
Okay.
Clearly, you're smarter than
I figured I'd plead my case regardless.
And Josh, I can't see
Hello.
you, but I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Anything in particular on your mind?
I mean, well, I'm just behind on work and everything.
Done. That would be,
Yeah.
that would be what would be on my mind if I were you.
Yeah, I'm just behind on work. Yeah, I've been trying to catch up.
Okay, it's easy to catch up. I mean, not easy in the sense you don't have to do the work, but there's not going to be any, major blowback on my end. I mean, if I can let Andrew and Paul go, I can certainly let you go. So you're supposed to smile, guys.
I'm smiling.
All right. Okay. So part of what I'm going to say this evening has to do with being on the Zoom recording. So if anybody looks at this later, it will be there. So in no particular order, number one, when you submit something through Canvas or when you send it to me via an email, whether it's in the body of the email or an attachment, it is very helpful. I'd like to make it mandatory that you put your name and the assignment and the date and even the class on it. So what happens is you submit something in Canvas and it gets locked up in a zip file with everybody else's. So it doesn't, when the zip file is open, unless your paper says Paul Florio at the top, I have no idea who it's from. I mean, I can go back and match them up. I don't want to go back and match up 30 different submissions every time. So if you just put your name alone will be a big help, okay? I can figure out what the assignment was, but so that would be number one. Number two, when I send you an email that's other than, hey, how are you? Happy Halloween and whatever, you got to reply and tell me you got it. You guys don't want to do that. And remember, I'm talking to everybody now, not just you who happen to be on the call. You always have the opportunity to rewrite something. Let's say Paul got a really crummy score on assignment 2, which was the free speech memo. Life as we know it is not over. You have the opportunity, based on whatever you and I discuss or whatever you get from your peer reviewer or whatever, to go back and rewrite that. You can rewrite it more than once. Rewriting is a good thing for two reasons. Number one, it indicates to me that you are trying. And I will repeat for the umpteenth time that I have two things I can reward: effort and achievement. So if Andrew's a genius and he's a great writer, even though he's a pain in the ass guy, he's good to go. If Paul is, many cards short of 52 in a deck, but he's trying, that's also a good thing. And I might not reward it to exactly the same degree I would reward Andrew's just, instinctive brilliance. But both Paul and Andrew in that hypothetical would do well in this class. We do have a departmental essay coming up. It will come up somewhere around Thanksgiving, probably a little bit before Thanksgiving. And that's the only thing that you can't rewrite. So here's what's going to happen. On a given day, you will have to go online and you'll have 45 minutes and you'll get a prompt right then. And the upshot of all this is that's supposed to be 10% of your grade, which means that if you totally pissed it away, which is a technical English term, piss away, you would be down to a 90, which would still be an A. But nobody is going to do so poorly that that will be the upshot. Remember what we're looking for in 101, and this has nothing to do with me and everything to do with the curriculum. 101 is about whether you can use the English language, standard English, effectively and efficiently. That means convey your thought, convey it in a way that is essentially conversational. And by conversational, I don't mean, oh, motherfucker, you know, blah, blah. I mean, just like you would talk to a normal person, not with a bunch of highfalutin words, but also not sounding like you're in the first grade. So it's not, look, Mike, see Andrew, run. But it's not something, you know, that's full of, you know, sesquipedalian terms and sounds like somebody's, you know, PhD thesis. We're shooting for an 8th grade level of comprehension, which if we didn't discuss this before, you were not on the call when we discussed it, means this. An 8th grader of average intelligence who is trying to understand what you've written should be able to understand it. Does that mean if you write at a 12th grade level, it's wrong? No. It means it's somewhat more difficult for the reader who's trying to absorb it. So we're trying to make it easy to absorb. We're not trying to make it juvenile, but we are trying to make it easy to absorb. That's why I ask you when you do these things to go and calculate the readability. I gave you a handout on a couple different ways to do that. If you have Word, there's a pull down, I think it's under tools, but I forget, that will tell you you're writing at a certain grade level. So if it comes out 9.3, that means you're writing kind of at a, you know, early stage of the 9th grade, which would be perfect. All right. If you're writing at a 5.2, no, that is too simplistic. Okay. There are a bunch of algorithms. Almost all these algorithms are based on this. How many words are in your how many syllables are in your words, how many words are in your sentences, and how many sentences are in your paragraphs. Then they all throw in some kind of secret sauce that makes, you know, the Florio algorithm different than the Cruz algorithm, different than the Willman algorithm or whatever. In those, they typically go on a basis of 100 points. So you want to be writing somewhere between 50 and 80, not 99, which would mean it's too highfalutin, but not 39, which would mean it's, you know, more like geared for an elementary school level individual. Okay, extra credit. I've given you one extra credit possibility so far. It was to write an essay on any of the dazzlingly interesting, sometimes funny thoughts of the day that I gave you. You know, things like a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Don't have to do it, but if you're concerned about where your grade is and you want the little kind of cushion that's there, there'll be more opportunities like that. All right. You even had a chance to get 50 points just by replying to the email about this meeting. And you didn't even have to say you were going to participate, just replying saying, got your message and no, I'm on the second shift at Wawa today or something. That got you 50 points. You would be surprised how many people in this class ignored that opportunity. So you 3 guys, you know, are 50 points ahead of most of the class just because you did that. All right. We've had 4 assignments to date. We've had 6 quizzes, the last of which was meant to, I don't know, quiz 5 is a pain in the ass. There's a lot of stuff in there. Quiz 6 was the little memes, which I thought might amuse you. So we will see when we get that back. Before we go further, Andrew, were you on any of the 3 earlier Zoom meetings?
I believe I was only on the previous one you had.
Well, I have
the
one on
other two
September 16th, one on September 24th, and one on October 9th. And I can go look it up, but it'd just be much easier if you told me.
You know what? I've been on two other ones. The last one you forgot to hit the record button,
Right.
and the one prior to that.
Okay.
So I guess it was October 9th, and what was there one before that? Yeah, there was one. before that.
9/16. We'll just say 9/20. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to sort of keep track. Paul?
This is actually the first one. The previous one I had trouble getting in, and it said I wrote you an email that night that I was having trouble getting in, but this is the only one that I've attended.
Right. And I pretended that I understood what you were saying, and I, dispensed great amounts of grace in your direction. And Josh?
Yep. First meeting here ever. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have created, you can't read it, and there's no point in screen sharing it, but I've created a grid that tells me, from my point of view, what I think you've done or not done, and it's for everybody. So, Paul, I think you're in pretty good shape, and I know you are because we discussed it the other day. Andrew, you're also in good shape. But I want you and anybody else who's listening or watching this to look. And if I've made a mistake, I'm happy to change it. I'm happy to admit it. Some of this is just manual record keeping. And I don't want to have anybody be in a position to be disadvantaged because I screwed up. So I'm happy to admit that. I just need people to look at it and make sure. Joshua, you're not in good shape. We're not going to discuss it now.
Yeah, I figured.
I'll discuss it with you privately. You know you owe me a lot of stuff.
I do.
And what I'm saying is I'm happy to accept it. I'm not going to, let's say at the end of the semester, Paul has turned everything in on time and you haven't. Yeah, I'm going to give Paul a better grade, but I'm not going to screw you.
Yeah.
Because I will appreciate you made the effort even when you were behind to get caught up. So
Okay.
I think I deserve to be called the world's easiest marker, at least in a class like this, which is totally subjective. This is not like, a math class. Andrew, 2 + 2 is not 47. I don't care how you do it. It's not 47. Oh shit, Mike, I thought you were an easy grader. I am, but 2 + 2 is not 47. How you write, how effectively you write, what command of grammar and syntax you have, or even the more simple concepts of spelling and punctuation. Some of that, Paul writes a declarative sentence. There's no period at the end. I can say with certainty, Paul, you screwed up. You needed a period there, dude. And Paul says, oh, a period, what's that? Okay, that's a mistake. Somebody misspells a word. That's probably a typo, but it's also a mistake. There are tons of syntax and grammar questions, some of which are fairly esoteric, meaning you don't really encounter them in your normal conversational or writing day, but I'm obliged to try to teach you those concepts. That is what 101 is all about. That is the boring part of 101. That's why we have all these quizzes with all this bullshit in them, okay? To try to expose you to the concept of a fragment or a choppy sentence, to expose you to the other kinds of things that pop up in people's writing. So having said that, what didn't I cover? All right. So what I can do now is if you want to go over any of the answer sheets to any of the quizzes, because you think that you didn't understand why the answer was the answer, I'm happy to do that. I'd also be happy to do that for you individually if that's what you wanted, but I can certainly do it now. If you want to look at any of the writing assignments, for example, Paul and I had a chance to go over his thesis statements, as I recall, right, Paul?
Yeah, and the free speech on campus.
Yeah. So again, I'm happy to do that on an individual basis. But what I would do, Andrew, I don't have that from you, so we can't do it, but I'm not, sorry, not Andrew, Joshua. Andrew, I was going to just kind of for the sake of the group, pull up your thesis statements and just use them as an example, unless you don't want me to.
I'm okay with that.
All right.
Objection.
So I'm not going to try to screen share them because I'd probably screw it up. But what I will try to do is pull them up. So let's see. Come on here. Canvas is wonderful in some ways, and in other ways, not so much. Are any of the three of you having any problem with the actual online infrastructure? Is there anything about what is happening or not happening in Canvas that is perplexing, or you say, no, I don't know what the hell's going on?
There is one thing. So when we go to submit an assignment,
Mhm.
there's the only option in there. Like, so you say copy and paste it in there, right? So there is no, like in other classes, there's an option to upload a
The
file,
document, yeah.
like a document. There's no option for that in this course. That's one thing that I
Right.
would say.
And I don't control that.
Okay.
So part of the architecture of this is created for me. I can go try to get that changed, but I'm not going to pretend that I know how to do that. Okay. So in that situation, there's always the fallback of emailing it to me. Like, obviously you've been able to submit stuff, Andrew, and you've had to do it in a way that perhaps was a little bit more cumbersome, but you got it done. And I have your thesis statement assignment up now, and you did exactly what I want everybody to do. It has your name, your student ID, the name of the course, what assignment it is, and the date that it was due. So that's perfect. So let me just read these to you. And the first prompt was the appropriate government response to undocumented aliens. And actually, because this is 101, what I'm about to say doesn't matter. About more than a third of the class responded to the concept of undocumented aliens as being little green men from outer space, which they are not. Aliens are people who have entered this country illegally. They don't have any of the various kinds of visas. The so-called border violations, okay? So without getting into the who struck John of all that, but why did I say that it doesn't matter? Because this is 101. And you could write some totally bullshit answer, and that is a technical English comp term, bullshit, okay? I know you've never heard it before, but it is a technical term, and you might as well become familiar with it. If you did that, in 101, it doesn't matter, because what we're supposed to be doing, emphasizing, learning, is how you use the language. The fact that you made up some colossal piece of crap, the substance of it doesn't matter at all. In 102, it's an entirely flipped thing. That means in 102, what you have to say and your ability to, excuse me, explain and defend it becomes paramount. So 102 assumes you can write, some more effectively than others, but that you can write, and therefore knowing all of the sides of an issue and then being able to offer your thesis, which is, you know, the easy default explanation is to use abortion as an example. So Paul says, I think abortion is murder. And Andrew says, I think a woman should have the right to choose. And Josh says, well, you know, it doesn't matter what either of you guys think because the Supreme Court has already said thus and so. All right. If Paul said he believed that abortion is murder because his grandmother always told him that when he was a little kid, that could be absolutely true. And I wouldn't want to impugn Paul's grandmother, but that's not a reason. If he said, I believe that life begins at conception, therefore, when you abort a fetus, you are killing a person, that would be a good thesis statement, okay? We don't have to be persuaded by it, but it'd be a good statement of what Paul believes. Josh would be way ahead of the game because he could say, Andrew, I understand how you feel about a woman's right to choose. Paul, I understand how you feel about life beginning at conception, but the Supreme Court has ruled whether we like it or not, you know, first trimester, okay, last trimester, not okay, middle trimester, you know, lots of different factors that have to be taken into account. That would be 102. In 101, Paul could write, abortion is murder because my grandmother always told me that, or because that's my religious belief. And that would be fine, okay? So let's go back to Andrew's paper. Because of the significant criminal threat posed by undocumented aliens, the US government should implement more effective border control methods, such as stronger physical barriers, increased surveillance, and more enforcement officers to curb the illegal drugs and violent criminals coming into our country. 43 words long. So Andrew is perfect right now. He's told me how many words it is, and he wrote a thesis statement. He says the government should do something. It doesn't matter whether you agree with Andrew, that's his thesis. That's his position, that's his statement. He said it effectively. There are two little things in there that I would change, Andrew. I believe in the Harvard comma. Guys don't know what that is, but if you have a list, put a comma between the next to last thing in the list. There are 10 things I like about Paul. He is rich, good looking, funny, blah, 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 comma. And I don't know, he thinks that Wilman is the best English teacher ever, something like that.
Yeah, I do that comma, yeah.
So the other thing is, Andrew, more effective border controls such as border control methods, maybe a comma after methods. But what you wrote is well written and it is a good thesis statement. All right, the next thing we have is the death penalty. Andrew wrote, the death penalty must be preserved as a form of punishment for heinous crimes because it is shown to be a powerful deterrent to future crime, removes violent criminals from the general population, and shows that the justice system is effective in making victims whole. 45 words, same thing. One Harvard comma, Andrew, but it's well written. It's thoughtful. It actually is substantively good. Both of those were substantively good. Doesn't mean we have to agree with Andrew, but they make points that are worth making, okay? So now Andrew is 2 for 2. That would mean so far in a 200-word assignment, he's gotten 2 40s. So, 5 things, 40 points each. We go to the next one, which is gun control. Gun control policy must be reviewed on an annual basis to ensure it is achieving its stated goal of saving lives and preserving the right to gun ownership, 28 words. Same thing, okay? Somebody could say, well, gee, reviewing on an annual basis, what does that mean? It means it doesn't have to be the definitive statement. It is something, it is a step. And that's all we're looking for. Andrew is putting his weight, his writing weight behind doing a particular thing. That's his thesis. He thinks that annual reviews are what we need. Maybe we need vanilla ice cream in everybody's dessert bowl, and that would be better, but it doesn't matter. So what Andrew is now 3 for 3. So he's at 120 points. What did I give you on this, Andrew? Do you remember?
I have a 200 and a 200.
Yeah, so I gave you a perfect score. So now we're gonna see if I just screwed up. What constitutes quality? This was meant to be the bullshit, challenging one in the bunch. Quality. What does that mean? Well, a lot of people who, in responding, just went to the dictionary and put quality is. I mean, it's fairly easy to tell when it comes right out of the, which is fine, because that is a definition of quality. So you got to tell me what you think constitutes it. We're not, giving you points for original thinking. Let me think. Quality. All right, I think quality is. No, we don't know shit. So using all the tools at our disposal to help respond is what we ought to do, not something we have to avoid doing. So Andrew wrote, in the world of business, quality consists of actual superiority to other products or services, ability to achieve its intended purpose, and perceived excellence by its users or customers. Again, with the exception of the missing Harvard or Oxford comma, Andrew, I'm with you all the way. That was actually a good thesis statement. So now you're 4 for 4. You're at 160 shooting for 200.
Thanks. Yeah, and I carved out because it's such a general, broad thing. I had to pick something okay, business.
That's fine.
It's pretty.
That is absolutely fine. So then the value of a college education. I expected you all to say, if a college education is going to be like my Comp 101 class. It's not worth anything. But thank God you didn't. Or if you thought that, you were smart enough not to put it in your thesis statement, which I appreciate, okay? I'm all in favor of students sucking up to instructors, just so you know. So any pandering kind of statement you want to make that says, Mike, and try to look sincere when you do this. You know, this is the greatest class. I thought Comp 101 was going to suck, but this has been a pivotal moment in my life. Like, I think that the whole world has opened up to me now just because of this class. And I would be so gullible as to say, well, shit, you know, I'm a really good teacher. So thanks, Paul. I really appreciate, you know, you feeling that I've changed your life. And Paul's there. Yeah, like, right. All right. So Andrew wrote, a college education is a valuable asset to possess if a person is seeking to achieve a higher level of success, enhance their credibility in a chosen discipline, or increase their understanding of a topic. All right. Again, as a thesis statement is fine, but Andrew's, I'm going to read this to you again, and you tell me where Andrew screwed up. And I didn't take any points off because I was so taken by what a good job Andrew did. Listen to this. A college education is a valuable asset to possess if a person is seeking to achieve a higher level of success, enhance their credibility in a chosen discipline, or increase their understanding of a topic. It was missing the Harvard comma again. It has an if clause in it, Andrew, and if clauses are set off by commas. So we got a couple little nitpicky comma things here, but I'll read it to you one more time. Hopefully this jumps out at you. A college education is a valuable asset to possess if a person, listen to the inflection, is seeking to achieve a higher level of success, enhance their credibility in a chosen discipline, or increase.
Or in a plural.
Yes, we have a single antecedent, if a person, and then we have the plural possessive there, and it was used twice. 5 years from now, and certainly by the time your kids are in college, that rule will have changed. That's the way people talk. So, you know, you don't say if a person, but enhance his or her credibility, because that's too awkward. Nobody walks down the hall and says in any situation, well, his or her, okay? It's easier to change the antecedent. So if you said, if college education is a valuable asset to possess, if students are seeking, so make that noun plural, then the there is easy and you don't have to change it. A minor thing, but look at me, guys. I mean, literally look at me. That's the kind of thing that gets tested on the departmental essay exam. Some broader kinds of concepts, but little kind of, I don't want to call it bullshit because I've used the term too many times tonight, but there are things that don't affect whether somebody can understand what you wrote. Changing that to be the proper, you know, form of the possessive pronoun is not going to change whether people would understand what Andrew was writing. But we have this concept of standard English. It's what we're shooting for. It's what we have to teach. It's what we have to test for. All right? So just suck it up and understand that the textbook, the rule book that I told you to buy, I have no idea whether you bought it, whether you're looking at it. It's not like you're going to sit down and read it like it was a novel. Oh my God, this is, oh, I'm up to, you know, exclamation points. This is getting so exciting. Let me just finish this before I go to sleep. All right. But the good thing about the Diana Hacker book is it gives you lots of examples. And I think that the way you learn some of these more arcane things is by examples. And so I would encourage you to just, you know, kind of skim through it. Are you going to read it like you're reading, you know, some sociology book that's trying to explain to you why some natives in Borneo do something and they don't do it anywhere else? No, it's not that kind of thing at all. All right. So Andrew, that was a great job, notwithstanding my little, you know, chicken shit nitpicking remarks.
Thanks.
So that, unless you guys have something in particular you want to talk about, I don't need to keep you any longer. Josh, you know what you got to do.
Yep.
I'm on your side. Get it done. We'll be fine. Paul, you're good to go. I told you that before. Andrew, you're certainly good to go too. Okay? Just don't tail off at the end of the semester and stop doing stuff. I mean, so, you know, two of you are in great shape. I would say right now we give out grades. You both have A's. Josh, we're going to get you to a point where you're going to get a good grade. So, Andrew, anything on your mind? Anything that I said that, you know, provokes a question on your part?
I do the, I just wanted to ask you if you did get the peer review thing for the free speech.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I can't believe I forgot that. The peer review thing, this is one of the downsides of online classes. If we were face-to-face, I'd say, Paul, give your paper to Andrew, Andrew, give your paper to Paul. You would look at it right then, you'd pass it back, you'd have a chance to say, Paul, why did you write all over this? And Paul would say, well, Andrew, you suck, you know, and it was shitty paper. And then Andrew would say, well, give me your paper back because I'm going to make yours a shitty paper too. You know, so we could get all the kindergarten stuff, you know, out there right away. Here, let me just take a look here. Andrew, you were supposed to get a paper from Olivia Crawford. Did you?
I did, yes.
Did you send it back?
Yes. And I CC'd both your emails on it, like you said.
All right, so I didn't write that down, so shame on me. So you're good to go there. Did you send a paper to Felicia Ector?
Yes.
Did she respond?
I didn't get anything back yet, no.
All right, so here's what I would like you to do.
But I'm pretty sure no.
Okay, what I would like you to do, or anybody else who is watching this video later, if you did not send a paper to the right person, do it now, and I will allow that to happen in terms of deadlines. If you didn't get a paper back that you sent to somebody, send it one more time with an email that says, you know, maybe you didn't get this or maybe it was misplaced, but I'm resending my essay and, you know, I would look forward to getting, you know, your comments. So we're not going to worry about the deadlines right now. I'm more concerned about what I want is you to have an opportunity to comment on somebody else's writing because you learn from that, believe it or not. And I would like you to have the benefit of somebody else's comments on what you've written because you learn from that too. You can say, oh, Mike, you know, you're just being, you know, a nitpicker about this. You're a pain in the ass, blah, blah, blah. But if somebody else says, Andrew, I have no idea what you were trying to say here. They may be totally screwed up, but it also may be a lesson for you that somehow how you phrased that didn't work in terms of them understanding it. So it's kind of like real life. Paul, did you send a paper to Sienna Goospy?
Yes,
Okay. And did you get anything back?
I have not.
So do what I just said. Send it to her again with a little note. And did you get one from Felicia Ector?
I did, but I have not sent it back yet.
All right, do that.
Okay.
All right. And Josh, you should have gotten a paper from Bob Bush, did you?
Yeah, I did. And I returned, yeah, my suggestions and edits and stuff.
You copy me on that?
Yeah, I think I sent you like my edits on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you should have sent yours to somebody who is, if you can believe this, Josh, somebody who's done less work than you. Christian Castagnola. Did you send something to her?
Yeah, I did.
And
I don't think I got it back.
So here's the deal, and this is for anybody who's looking at this later. If you send something to somebody and don't get it back, you get full credit. All right? If what somebody else does, what I'm trying to say is somebody else's lack of interest in following what I'm asking, following those directions, it's not going to cost you. All right? No matter what we're doing down the road. Okay? I think that's it. So thank you for bringing up the whole matter of peer review. All right, Paul, was I up to you? Did I ask you if you have any other questions?
Yep, you're fine. Everything's good. I'm on track, and I'll get that essay out to Felicia maybe tonight.
Okay, well, a whole lot of people are way behind you, so don't, just do it, be reasonable. And Josh, I look forward to seeing you on a future call when I'm saying, Andrew and Paul, you are just a delight as students, and Josh, you are too. All right?
All right.
And you are the best professor I've ever had. So
I love it when people pick up on a little subtle hint like, please suck up to the instructor.
Roman 2024. You look good in the Oval Office.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate
So
that.
that's what it is, yeah. In the background.
Nobody else was using it. So I thought, what the hell, I'll sit in the Oval Office. Trump and Pence are not there. I have downloaded a bunch of.
This is actually a fake background as well. It's not my
Yeah,
kitchen.
it looks like somebody's kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Andrew,
just
yours
not.
looks
It's not mine. It's just a standard kitchen. You get on the background options.
One of the things you can get obviously anything. I could probably get, a background where I had, 20 blonde bimbos, who were all 20 years old behind me looking like they were, having the times of their lives. But you can get backgrounds that look like somebody's home, or they look like somebody's very expensively decorated home.
Yeah, I've done that before.
My fiance had a business meeting, and it was like this really nice looking office. It looked like a normal, nice, rich office. And then the guy's wife came in a picture, and the frame started moving, and she's like, "Whoa!" There was like a white wall behind him. She's like, "What the?" So yeah, don't believe your eyes, right?
That's right. I mean, buying the green screen that I use was like the best investment because, I can be on an island in Fiji, or I can be, in the Supreme Court arguing a case, or I can be in the Oval Office of the White House, press briefing room or whatever.
Yeah, green
right.
screens can be fun.
All right, we're good to go, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Professor. Have a good night.
Good night.
Yeah.